Welcome to the Dissent Agenda. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Cody. We're just two loudmouths with Wi-Fi, a mic, and zero tolerance for bad politics.
Every week, we dig through the dumpster fire that is national politics, so you don't have to. From clown car congressional hearings to billionaires cosplaying as patriots, we call it out and call it what it is.
Then we bring it home, literally. Stick around for our Locals Only segment where we spill the tea about what's going on right here in Virginia Beach.
Because what happens in Washington doesn't stay in Washington. It shows up at our school board, our city council, and on our grocery bill. This is the Dissent Agenda. Let's get into it. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I feel like every week it's like this.
It gets more upside down.
More upside down. What would you like to talk about first of the upside down world that we live in?
First of the upside down world that we live in. About the Trump Mamdani meeting.
Oh my gosh.
So
okay, there's so much to talk about. Like
I'm seeing the loving googly eye picture.
Right, which is
all over everywhere.
I want somebody to look at me like Trump looks at Mamdani.
Trump's take was I think he's going to surprise a lot of conservatives. He's really not that bad of a socialist.
Right. And like the thing is Mamdani was like legit himself. Like he wasn't anybody other than who he's shown himself to be. And the picture of him in front of FDR. And if you notice, it looks like FDR's like his daddy, like leaning over his shoulder, and he's centered on that portrait, and Trump is like Trump is off center, which I also thought was a brilliant way for him to, frame that. And then you have the day after the meeting. Did you see the pictures of Trump going around with the maroon scarf around his neck now, like tucked into his like suit jacket? And then there's a picture of Mamdani that's like literally right, it's side by side, and it's Mamdani in like a maroon turtleneck with a black jacket. It's hilarious. Like now he's dressing like him. And you know what? I try to think like Trump is a malignant narcissist. He's a dark triad. He's like got Machiavellianism. He's a malignant narcissist. And now I can't think of the third of the dark triad, but it'll come to me. So it's just interesting to see him. So I'm like, is this just to see him fawn that way?
Well, I mean, so Trump doesn't really have any personal morals or principles. It is whatever garnishes him the most.
Well, he's like
benefit.
People like this guy, and he knows because they say 9% of Mamdani's voters were triple Trumpers, because Mamdani is able to pull those triple Trumpers. Because one thing about Trump, a lot of Trump people, even if it's not really the truth, if they think it's the truth and it feels good, they get behind him. Like they just like they want somebody who is authentic. That was the draw to Trump in the first place, was his authenticity. Now, I mean, yeah, he's authentic. He's a scumbag.
I think a lot of it too was Trump's condoning of the removal of accountability.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, there's a whole look. People sometimes ask me like, oh, can you find something good that happened, with the first Trump administration, right? And I'm like, yeah,
survived it.
Well, we survived it, but I'm like, I'm thankful for people's masks being removed in the first administration, right? And so now what I think is we have in his second administration, so masks were removed, right? So we started to see the behaviors of some people that we love, like my own family members, that just were really like, wow, oh, okay. And so it removed that mask. This second administration is basically removing the mask of how our society functions with the government and how little control we actually have. Because if you've dipped into any of those 23,000 Epstein emails, you will realize that global markets and all the money people are the people that actually control everything. And so I think that this time around, what I'm grateful for is that we're starting to see that get unmasked.
I think in the first administration, it was like you said, you got to see the mask removed. I think in this administration, it's more of we finally get to see people looking around.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait.
Yep. And so Mamdani brings, it's just a different kind of authenticity. And you can tell that when Mamdani says something, like, he means it, whether or not he can accomplish the things that he says, right? Because that's going to require compromise and working with people. And I think he's very ready and willing to do. It's going to be if other people do. And like, so then we saw the MAGA meltdown online. I don't know if you've been on X or Threads. Like, they're just
the MAGA meltdown is in full. I mean, the defectations in the Republican.
They feel betrayed.
They feel betrayed because he didn't keep any of his promises.
And now he's in love with a socialist.
Now he's in love with a socialist. And right after the Congress voted overwhelmingly to what was it?
Release the
they did.
The socialism,
but to condemn the atrocities.
Listen,
of socialism.
How crazy is it that, what was it, like 86 or 96? I don't know. Just up under 100 Democrats voted for that, which of course, I mean, hello. So the Democrats, all those Democrats voted for it, but didn't get behind Mamdani. And then now Mamdani goes to the White House and Trump is just like goo goo gaga over him. And as that's happening, they're signing that bill.
And I love Mamdani afterwards. I still think he's a fascist despot.
I know, literally. And then Trump's like, yeah, you can say it. Just say it. Yeah, and he's like, well, yeah, I think he is. And I mean, not that I think Mamdani still would have said the truth. I don't, I'm not of the, I think he just would have been like, well, yeah, I still think you are. Yeah. Regardless of what Trump had said. I mean, Mamdani can read the room very well. He knew exactly what was going on when that happened. And now he also, you could tell, like, he was not happy to be there. You can see in his face, he's not smiling in pictures he's only smiling if they catch him where it's a reaction to something.
Yeah, he's doing his job.
He's doing his job. That's exactly right. So that was good. And then I think that happened in the same day that Marjorie Taylor Greene announced her resignation. I think it was like literally Donald Trump is meeting with Mamdani and Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning.
Yeah, but I don't think she's resigning because he met with Mamdani.
No. I don't think
she's resigning because it's finally, I mean, the leopards will eat your face.
The leopards will eat your face.
And it's just finally her face and her turn.
That is correct. That is correct. And I think, I don't know when the Georgia governor's race is, but I mean, she could be looking for maybe like a governor statewide or something like that. Because that's typically the next, you go from Congress to
I don't think she has the pull to move up in the political world, especially not without the Trump endorsement.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. Do you think that Marjorie's reading the room and she sees the pinhole of an opportunity to get out ahead of what is going to be the MAGA collapse, and she's trying
to be that moderate Republican candidate as MAGA collapses,
and have the evidence behind the whole, like, now I'm getting violent threats, like basically as the victim of Trumpism, and which, I mean, like, sorry, leopards ate your face. I have no compassion or empathy for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She didn't say shit or do shit until it affected her.
I think it makes a good book, right? But I think also, just like you said, she got so extreme that's a real uphill road. That's a lot of elevation to make up.
Yeah, you cannot. I mean, unless like she came out full throated and was like, "Yes, I've been a racist. Yes, I've been a homophobe. Yes, I've been a trans." Like, you got to come out full throated with that, like, but we know she's not going to. So, but I there is a little suspicion that she's like, she's seeing that she needs to get out of ahead of this because she could potentially spend some time trying to normalize herself for this, whatever this new version of the Republican Party is going to come out with after the Epstein files situation happens.
Well, I think even just in general, I think you're seeing it a lot in the Republican Party. The Congress really remained, I mean, just dead. We're not doing anything.
And now we're getting unanimous votes and shit.
And now
they passed, that dumbass bill that they put it in with the CR with the senators to be able to sue the government for up to $500,000. The House actually voted unanimously to repeal that. Now the Senate's probably not going to, but like we're getting the kind of politicking happening right now more than we've ever seen, at least in this 119th Congress for sure, but probably in the last hot minute.
Yeah, I mean, and they've just kind of been shutting down. I think it's just become so ridiculous. Trump's behavior and blatant flouting of laws.
Quiet piggy.
Yeah, like it's just become.
Listen, I'm a Miss Piggy stan so hard, and so that's my new handle on shit is Miss Piggy stan. But like the audacity of you to say quiet piggy, and then I went, no, why is it mostly women he has around him for reporters? Like I think he intentionally wants to have just women around him. And then so he can talk to them that way and control them that way, because that's the last remaining thing for him that he can actually still continue to do, because he's very clearly not of sound mind all the time. Some days he's better. I think I think he's still horrific every time I hear him, but he's getting real out of control. And they're not, you can't put that genie back in the bottle, and you cannot hide crazy. You cannot hide crazy.
No. And it's only taken, it's taken the first year of his presidency, but I think people have finally had enough crazy. And
like, where's JD Vance right now? Mamdani just slid right in. Like what? Like where? Yeah, with Erica Kirk. Yeah. Yikes.
He's on his Turning Point USA tour. That's where JD Vance
is right now. Yeah. So that was pretty crazy. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, federal judge came out about the National Guard troops in DC, said it's pretty much unlawful.
Which everybody knew all along. That's happening more and more with almost every single one.
He's like he is. Instead of The Apprentice, he should have done The Biggest Loser, because like he legit is the biggest loser. Everything is, all he does is lose, lose, lose. Like, so he's just used to be lose, lose, lose instead of win, win, win. Right? That's all he does is lose in court, everywhere. So yeah, what else happened? There's just so much all the time.
We definitely blew up a couple more boats completely illegally.
And now some senators, I think, are starting to kind of come up with, and then we have some Republican senators.
Even some Republican senators are finally like, hey, that's we can't just, summarily execute people. Like that's
pretty much
not something I think we're really allowed to do. And I think people don't think about that. Like, it's real easy to be like, oh, we're stopping drugs, we're saving lives. But if any other country just summarily executed an American simply on the suspicion of them breaking a law, when there were absolutely other options,
right?
There would be an uproar across the country about how terrible that was, how that's a breach of international law, how you can't just kill people without any due process, even if you're really sure. Like that's
and then there's this, so I listen to a lot of TikTok lives, political lives, and I hear the defense, like Republican defense of this is and this drives me nuts, because a lot of people accuse people on the left of being naive to how like government works and all this stuff. Like, no, motherfuckers, we know exactly how this shit works. Okay. And the fact that there are conservatives that are defending this, whether it's, all the drugs, they're stopping all the drugs. Okay. First of all,
Venezuela doesn't even make
exactly. Venezuela doesn't even make fentanyl.
They don't do that.
So here we go. There's lie number one.
Nor can most of the boats that they're blowing up make it to our coastlines. They don't have the capabilities of getting that far,
blowing up. But they'll say, when you want to argue, like, okay, well, where are the names? Like, how do we know who these people are? They're like, they had to have the orders. They really believe that our government had information, and they're like, we don't deserve to know the information. But so it's like they accuse us of being naive, But like, no, you are literally so naive to think that they didn't just follow the order. That's why do you think that those veterans that are on Congress made that video that's been oh so scandalous for Donald Trump because he says it was a seditious threat or whatever, and it's punishable by death, which, bro, that's not what sedition means. They're literally telling the military that they do not have to obey unlawful orders. Not
which is
disobey a lawful order,
which is 100% true. It's your duty to not obey an order that you know to be unlawful.
Unlawful. And that's the key, is it's an unlawful order. An unlawful order would be an extrajudicial killing of 11 people on a fucking boat because you say that they're in the cartel. But do you think that junior person or whoever that person was that hit that button to do that is questioning up the chain of command? They should be. But that's their defense of it. They'll say, oh, they had to have had that information. They wouldn't have done it otherwise. No, you're just believing that they had that because it helps fit your narrative or your bias, support your bias.
Well, because when you believe that, you can stay where you want to stay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you don't have to acknowledge, like, hey, maybe you've been supporting a fascist. Maybe, just maybe, you're part of the Gestapo. I mean,
yeah, like, you don't have to be the bad guy if you can, make a narrative where you're the hero.
Exactly. So yeah, what other topics
can we go back to the president saying basically that they should be?
Oh yeah, I did just gloss
over.
I mean, listen, what are we working with here, though? Do you blame me for glossing it over? There's so much.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not a new thing for our president to basically say somebody should be killed for
and then
disagreeing with him.
Oh my god. Well, and don't even get me started about having MBS in the Oval Office and how bad he talked about Jamal Khashoggi is disgusting. And the fact that you have the crown prince, that murderer, in your office, allegedly.
Allegedly.
And so.
But hey, making big deals, making big deals. That's what I was saying. We were talking about this earlier about how, is Trump a fascist? Yes, he's definitely a fascist despot, but he's a fascist by consequence of his greed.
Yeah.
This is really all about greed. That's why it doesn't matter. Trump doesn't care what your morals are.
No.
He doesn't have any of his own.
No.
It's all about just what gets the most money, what gets the most power. And he'll make a deal.
Lines his pockets.
Yeah, he'll make a deal with anybody. He'll flatter anybody. Anybody.
Yeah. Well, and people don't love him as much as they say they do, because you heard about all the MAGA accounts, how Twitter released they just like all of a sudden it showed up where your account originates from. And it was like Russia, Nigeria, just all over the world. There's for sure interference going on. These are like really popular MAGA supporting accounts that pretend that they support MAGA. So it's all been a false narrative. Like, people do not love Trump this much. I mean, some people do, but you have been like, you got.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it was. You got. And none of the foreign leaders respect Trump. They fear his insanity and the amount of power that he has, but nobody respects him.
Yeah.
And yes, probably many of them wanted him in power because then they could play chess with somebody that's eating crayons. It's that.
I mean, I have been saying this, like, I think we might have talked about this maybe in the first episode, or I don't know, maybe we've just talked about this, you and I, but Russia has been, while we have been worried about a nuclear war with Russia, the whole time they have been infecting us from within. And they have essentially, with the goal of tearing America apart. And so you see this with Donald Trump made the perfect patsy, the perfect target, the perfect person for them to do that with. He was
great casting.
Right. Great casting. Exactly. And so, and now you have someone who's so drunk with power that he's misusing sedition first and foremost, but calling for death to some Congress people for making a video just speaking as a veteran to other active duty military who are facing an immense amount of pressure, including reservists. I mean,
but when everything, so when your strategy is be extreme, and that stops working, you only have one more place to go, and that's just more and more extreme. You only escalate, and I think that's what we'll see here from Trump. We've been seeing it, right? I think we'll keep seeing it. The question is now will we continue to see this reaction from Congress and the judicial system to basically just start finally cutting away his actual ability to do anything, and really just leave him as he is, which is just a lame duck. Yeah. Big 80-year-old child throwing a fit.
Pretty much that's him. But I mean, but it's scary. The damage that is being done to our government right now. I mean, the Department of Education has now effectively moved departments. First of all, there's a ton of current professionals that are recognized as professionals for purposes of student loans and education, etc.
They did change the list.
And they changed the list. And then
so that there's a lot of professions that now aren't eligible for student loans and some of those things.
They have caps, like lower caps and things like that, which of course is we already know how unaffordable secondary education is.
If they really wanted you to be educated, it'd be free.
That's right. And so now you're making changes that's going to prohibit, and a lot of these are women-dominated fields. So that also sends another message. I mean, this is just part of the plan, right? And then on top of that, they have taken departments. So primary and secondary education, so elementary, and then your middle and high school, is now going to be operating under the Department of Labor. They are now taking the foreign languages things, like stuff in the Department of Education with foreign language, and they're moving it to the State Department. It is appalling what they have done to the Department of Education.
Well, and here's what's funny is, so all the people out there that are like, this is great, they're eliminating the Department of Education, we've always wanted the Department of Education to be eliminated. So first of all, none of the functions of the Department of Education, except for the parts that actually protect your kids in school, that actually make sure that your kids get a quality education regardless of disability or circumstance, and make sure that education meets a standard across the country. Other than that part, all of the other things that actually cost money that you think you're saving, you think that money's going to the state, all of that still exists. It's just getting moved to different departments. It's just getting, student loans going to Department of Treasury, as you were saying, these other difference getting moved out to different departments, which, unless they actually staff for that, just means that all of those functions don't have anybody to do them. They're just getting moved to a different department. And it also means that now all of those things are less efficient, because instead of one department handling all of these things and it going out to the schools and that communication and all of those interactions happening with one department, now all of that's going to happen with 5, 6, 7 different hands sitting in the pot.
That's right. In a different department that has never done this before.
Yeah, and so there's been no cost savings. There's been nothing but protections eliminated from your kids in school, and complications that are going to impact how good an education they receive.
But they don't care. Okay, but there's a large majority of these voters that don't care. Okay, because there's for 2 reasons, right? And I'm going to speak on generational, right? Or age related,
most of us have never lived in a system that didn't have the Department of Education. So most of us complaining about,
that's right,
saying it's so great without it, have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
That's exactly right. And the boomers don't give a shit because they're going to die.
Well, the boomers,
they're never going to see. They're not going to see. They're not going to see the repercussions of what is going to happen to their grandchildren's education, and they don't give a shit because they're going to die.
The whole boomer mindset has been, it was great for me. Let's freeze it just like this until I die. Who gives a care about anybody else?
That's right.
I'll be dead. I want to keep it what's good for me, and that's exactly what you see. You see it all over. You see it in our city.
And then you have the wealthy people who don't care about public education because they pay for their kids to go get private education.
Yeah, there's no benefit to them for public education. education. If you get too educated, then who's going to dig their ditches? Who's going to pack their groceries? Who's going to put stuff in boxes and do all of the dirty, crappy jobs that nobody wants to do for not enough money?
That's right. So that's right. So that's where we are. So people, and those people are Republicans. Full stop. That's it. So that is what you care about. You don't care about children. Like, miss me with all of that. Like, you don't care about kids, because if you did, you would want them fed, you would want them educated, and you would want them healthy.
Yeah, we, you know, at least in the America that I was taught about, we've fought for generations for our kids to do better than us, for them not end up with the exact same factory job that their dad had. Yep. And now we have a whole section of our society that's been duped into fighting to get that back.
That's exactly.
For some unfathomable reason, they're just dying to bring back the generation after generation laboring away in a factory. Except for now, in a society and economy where that factory job won't buy you a home, it won't put your kids through college, and it won't send you on vacation either. And you and your wife are going to have to work in that factory to make ends meet without any of the benefits that you're so nostalgic about that you never actually ever had.
Yep. Yesterday, I did a removal at my studio on a client, and she was a young conservative woman in law school at Regent, and I was kind in my remarks about you know, her being a law student at Regent, and I asked her, I said, well, what makes her, like, what makes you at 30 a conservative woman? And, you know, obviously, like, you're in law school now. And come to find out, she worked in the first Trump administration on Capitol Hill as a very young aide in the DOJ, worked with Pat Cipollone, who is famous for, in Trump's first administration, being, if you heard about the in the White House, the screaming match that took place, like, where it was a bunch of advisors because Trump was trying to do some fuck shit, you know. Pat Cipollone was one of them who was, like, really pushing back hard on Trump. And of course, he's just disappeared into the, you know, these people know all the shit. And she literally told me, she's like, oh, I know some wild shit. And I'm just like, I would be like, like, literally, like, if what? And I mean, she even said stuff like, you know, I was very young, and, like, I, you know, very, you know, easily impressionable, and whatever. Her excuses were for, you know, being a 23-year-old, like, conservative, being happy to work for Bill Barr in the Trump administration. But anyways, so she says, you know, it goes on to the, like, you know, conservative, like, you know, family values, and, like, the way it was 50 years ago. And that I know.
Yeah, 50 years ago, when we actually made corporations and rich people pay taxes. And so we had money to invest in infrastructure and education. And
but also, you know, and she asked me the same. She, you know, so she said her thing, and then she asked me, like, well, what makes you whatever leftist? You have your values. And I was like, well, you know, when you talk about having an appreciation and thinking that things have gone downhill since they were 50 years ago, like, to me, that is incredibly insulting as a woman, because when I look at where women were 50 years ago, and how basically what you're doing is you're upholding the patriarchal system, which is ultimately also upholding white supremacy. I think that it's this strange thing to want to have a nostalgic idea about a time where people were treated like shit, and, like, you think that the morality was, like, there was some kind of special morality. Like, those men were cheating on their wives, abusing their children. They were just doing it in the dark, and it was just a secret. And the trauma that what has happened in family morals or values in the last 50 years has actually done nothing but create generations of trauma in women and children.
Because especially as a 30-year-old anybody, or a 40-year-old anybody, or a 50-year-old anybody, guess what the 1950s are to you? They're Leave It to Beaver. They're a TV show. They're a story.
It's a story.
All right. They're a story. And the only part of the story that anybody grasped onto you, and it's not your fault. If you're watching, it's not your fault.
No.
We were born and raised in a capitalist society, and in a million obvious and incredibly subtle ways, we are told over and over again throughout almost every aspect of our life that money is all that matters.
And money's not real.
and money's just something that we made up. But that's the story we're told. And so we view almost everything from that lens. If people were doing better financially, then it was a better time.
That's right.
And so if the story
who was doing better financially?
And so if the story is that they were doing better financially, the middle class.
Which
but the
white middle class.
Very different. Was doing better financially, then that must have been great. And you even see it now as judges are ruling against all these illegal actions and just the blatant evil and terribleness of it is being more and more exposed. What you see people grabbing onto to defend the Republican Party is but the taxes and but the tariffs are going to work. Like it's the only thing you have is exactly the $2,000. It's all about money, and that's the bait being thrown out to keep you on the line. But we're gonna give you more money.
But here's the difference, though, and this is so when we talk about like 50 years ago, right? At a time where the only people that were thriving, well, that's not true. Sorry, let me back this up before I'm about to put my fucking foot in my mouth. All right, so Black communities were thriving, right? But the system was built, and overall it was the most important for the white communities to thrive. The Black communities they persisted, and they were thriving in their own community, but still very, very oppressed systemically, right? We're talking 50 years ago. I just love to hear Black farmers thriving right now. And white farmers are the ones who are struggling because
Black farmers have always had to work outside the system. And so they've created a way to succeed that doesn't involve the system having to create their way to succeed.
That's exactly right.
So when the system fails, their system's still working.
So we're now starting to see this shift, and I'm so here for this, right? Where you can see because of that, right? You've got these farmers who are like, yeah, well, we've worked outside the system. We haven't gotten those subsidies. We didn't get those grants. We didn't, that money wasn't just handed.
The system was designed to benefit you. And now that the system's failing, you're failing.
And it's what you voted for. That's just
overwhelmingly.
Overwhelming. Oh, yeah. It was a mandate, y'all.
It was a mandate.
You mandated your own demise, which is really sad. Like, I don't want to see people going out of business. I don't want to see people losing but I mean, I also think that this is on a grand scheme of things to get corporations to buy up farmland.
And in its own way, it really is just incredibly heartfelt, sad.
It really is.
It really is.
No,
it's been, I mean, you can even see it in this election when you go look at the numbers. There's a reason why they want you uneducated.
That's right.
The uneducated poor are the ones that most often get tricked into voting against their own interests.
That is correct. Yeah. Yeah. And so the federal government's just about big giant shit show right now. So state, we haven't gotten into session yet, which will be in January. So nothing really to report on with the state.
No, there'll be a lot. I mean, all of the things that they've been trying to pass for 4 years that have been just continuously getting vetoed by Youngkin will all just come through in a waterfall, I'm sure. But
can we talk about Attorney Tim Anderson? Because
talk about crash out.
Oh my God, he's crashing out so hard.
I wasn't beaten. The voters didn't show up. I outperformed Earl Sears. I thought I was just, what? Where are you going to move to next? When's the next open election? Have you already started looking at new places to rent?
God, he literally put this whole letter out that was like, I'm not going to run again. I'm just going to fight the Democrats. And then he spends like 2 weeks just crashing out, making all these different posts, dissecting every single law he thinks the Democrats are going to pass, and whatever, he
writing just essays,
literally
on
essays,
Facebook.
right? And getting ratioed, on some of his posts about his position on at will. And I jumped in and commented as a small business owner on getting, rid of Virginia being an at will state, which I firmly support. And so I would go in and and honestly was actually having some pretty good conversations with people that are, they're on his page that are actually, his followers, right? They were people that I can tell follow him, but they were having dialogue with me because I'm a business owner. And so
don't tell them that, don't tell them all of those things that benefit the workers and all of that stuff. That's some of that.
The simping for the corporations.
That's some of the atrocities of socialism there, though, like employee-owned stock options. That's
So crash out. And then next thing you know, he's like, wait a minute, I just looked at the numbers and I did better than Earl Sears. Bro, everybody did better than Earl Sears. Like you just needed a fucking pulse to do better than Earl Sears in this election. So now he's like, oh, maybe
it was her fault that I lost. I would have won if it wasn't for.
Yeah, but since I beat her, I might go ahead and throw my hat in the ring. He's going to move somewhere else and run.
He'll move somewhere else and.
Yeah, but I just had to kind of make fun of Timmy. And then now I'm just resorting to typing "quiet piggy" on all of his posts. That's super fun. But anyways, a little bit of hate on Attorney Tim Anderson.
And then locally, we did. Yeah. We passed the 10-1 system.
10-1, yep. 9-0. Michael Berlucci.
The city council voted to have the charter changed. Except for the two people that didn't show up.
Well, Berlucci didn't show up. Henley showed up, but then left. Supposedly her husband was sick. I definitely said that she would much rather have an absent vote than a yes on 10-1 because I got to give it to Barb. Old Babs was consistent. She was always a no. So I fully expected her to vote no, but then she was absent. But it was a 9-0 to pass it to go for the charter change. It's going to go to Richmond. It's going to get signed into law. It's done. We have a 10-1. And then they also had, and this was like Jimmy Frost. Oh boy, Jimmy was mad. Jimmy pounded his fist on the little podium and stuff when he spoke against the pay raise that council asked for.
Yeah. Was he really mad that
he was really, really mad. He said I have not done his numbers, but I do trust Jimmy's probably right about this. It's a 70% pay increase. It is like almost double.
Mm-hmm.
They want to go from like 27,000 to like 47,000. And then the mayor from 30 to like 52 or something like that. So I did an interview. I interviewed with 13 on it yesterday. And this is what I said. This is my position. I believe that public office should be accessible. And I believe that these elected offices were designed at the time that they were designed in a way that was meant for obviously like rich white men.
No, they were designed for
independently
white property owners.
Yeah, white property owners. That's exactly right. And so now translating white property owners to, okay, what does that look like today? What that looks like today is maybe not a white person, but definitely somebody who's independently wealthy or a very, very flexible schedule. Or
somebody that doesn't have to work like most of us have to work. Somebody that doesn't have to show up at a specific time and leave at a specific time and dedicate 8 hours or more every day.
Right. And I just believe in my heart that there's so many people that would do a really good job serving us as a community and we have brilliant minds, right? But when money gets in the way of that, so making the office more accessible to someone is kind of how I'm looking at that. But on the flip side of that, terrible timing, right? They also just 2 years ago got themselves legislative aids, which the taxpayers are paying for. So, okay, we got you legislative aids. Now, not all of the council members, from my understanding, take advantage of that. But that was an addition to the budget, and that was to help with the workload, right? And so now you're asking for a raise on top of we're already paying for legislative aids. So it's, to me, it's like kind of give or take. And then some of those people just aren't prepared. Like this council body, in my opinion, does not deserve a raise. And until the council starts looking at ways to increase revenue, not on the backs of the residential property owners, like I don't know, commercial property real estate assessments need some examination after the 5-year meeting that I just went to this week. I think that the city has been doing a solid to commercial real estate owners in this city because those are their political donors.
Made it way more friendly for, real estate and big corporations to be in our city than you do for people to actually live in our city.
That's correct. Exactly. And so, so I'm a no on the raise right now, but I'm not a no for the future.
Yeah, I think it's always a catch-22, right? Because right now in the environment of public service, you're giving a raise to people that usually don't deserve it and don't need it.
Correct.
Right. And so that always feels icky.
Of course, yeah. But you also have to spend money to get money.
But if you don't make it more accessible, you'll only always have those kinds of people.
That's correct.
You'll only always have those people in government. You'll never get, because even, yes, there's lots of smart people in every facet of our society, actually. I mean, I've known dishwashers with master's degrees. They just happen to be dishwashers at this point in their life.
Yeah.
But more than that, you actually make it accessible to people that live and deal with the things that they're voting on.
That's correct.
So much of the decisions made, local, state, federal government, at all levels of government, so many of those decisions are being made by people who those decisions have no impact on.
That's correct. Yeah.
They don't have to deal with the consequences. If anything, the only thing they ever see about any of their decisions are the rewards. And so
right. I mean, I would say on a local level, it may actually be a little bit of the opposite, meaning like I'll use, I think, the dog thing at the ocean front or something like that, like where we changed the laws about when you could walk your dog at the ocean front. And then like, I want to say it was Rosemary Wilson who got upset about it and then put forth to change it because it did affect her. So at a local level, like I think
at the local level, it's going to affect you more.
Yeah, and so you can make some policy decisions that are like.
But if you're independently wealthy, different taxes and different things, whether or not that there's better social services, whether or not there's better civil services, whether or not all of those services are better, that doesn't impact you.
That doesn't impact them.
And those are the big decisions. I mean, there's a million little decisions made in local governments that maybe affect the city council people, but a great majority of the bigger decisions that affect the whole city, they don't feel those decisions for the most part.
That's right. Yeah. And they'll like I've always been opposed to reducing residential real estate taxes because we're the lowest residential real estate taxes in all 757. We're also we have the lowest paid teachers in Virginia Beach of all of the 757. So there's a correlation there right now. But now I'm looking at, after this 5-year forecast meeting that I went to this week with the school board and city council, I'm like, there's an opportunity here that's been missed.
Yeah, I'm all actually
commercial.
I'm all for reducing taxes for the common people.
For the common people,
for everybody that makes a real living and has to work for it. I'm all for reducing their property taxes, reducing their income taxes, all of those things. In order to do that, though, we have to offset that
by something. We have to offset it with something else.
We have to charge the wealthy and corporations more taxes.
That's right.
And as it stands, we don't. We're many other nations charge corporations and charge the wealthy a substantial amount more.
So we need to start that at the local level. If the federal government won't do it, that's something that the local government can and has control over. Now, they have to see these people at the grocery store when they're rolling through the teeter, you know, they got to make eye contact with some of these people. And so that's really what it gets down to, right? Is I don't want to make this decision because this impacts my friend.
And you're going to need to really be able to take a firm stand and make that gamble, right? Because as soon as you say the words, hey, we're going to increase the tax on corporate real estate, we're going to increase the tax on corporations with so many, or businesses with above this amount of employees that operate in our city, the very first thing that's going to happen is all of those chambers of commerce, et cetera, are going to come to you and say, well, we're not going to want to do business in Virginia Beach. And you're going to have to be willing to call that bluff. You're going to, and here's the truth is they are. They still are, because guess what? This is the biggest city in Virginia.
That's right.
There's a huge amount of tourist traffic that comes through here, but you're gonna have to actually stand your ground and make that argument. And because what happens more often than not is they say, oh, well, we're not going to do that. And they say, well, we can't have businesses not here.
Yeah, I think they're ruled, but that goes back to where I say like conservatives are ruled by fear.
That's exactly it.
They're just ruled by fear. Oh, they're not going to bring their, but no, they are.
I mean, they want to play. They want to play the John Wayne all day, but their decisions are rooted in fear.
Fear. That's right. And so Dora's like, I'm not afraid to say. I mean, I've. Somebody had asked me about, I joke about running for mayor, and somebody said, like, are you, why don't you really strongly consider it? And I was like, well, I would run a Mamdani campaign for sure. Right. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm coming straight for the developers. I'm coming straight for commercial property. I'm like all of it. And not backing down from it either. Wouldn't back down from it. Now, again, I don't want to run for office because I really love to run my mouth. So it's like run for office, run my mouth.
Well, I mean,
run my mouth. I mean,
according to the president of today, political correctness is over. So
yeah, I mean, I
think that street should run both ways.
You're right. No, you're totally right. You're totally right. But I guess my own idea of what it's like my own self-censorship because of probably societal expectations is I would feel that pressure to do that, right? And also, man, some of the shit I've posted on social media, like comments, people make that shit into posters, yo. Like I've been downright mean to some people. They deserved it, but I've been mean to people. And then I can just see them be like, do you want a mayor that talks like this? And then all the Trump people would be like, yes.
Well, and it's hard too, right? Because, you get into office and you want to run, and really so much of society is still in a crawling phase.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know. It just would be like, it's like, I always say this, it's like caging an animal. I would be a caged animal and I would be way too frustrated and everything would move too slow. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's kind of what we need, but for now, no, I'm just going to encourage other people to run. And we have a bunch of local elections, which at this point, y'all, after digging into some of these Epstein emails, I'm just telling you, nothing fucking matters. Like at that federal level, like I'm not saying don't pay attention to it. I'm not saying don't watch it, but like we really don't have control. You know where we have control? We have control right here in our city or your city, wherever you are listening to this. It doesn't have to be in Virginia Beach. Like I'm telling you, you want to figure out what the fuck is going on in politics, get involved with local, follow the school board, get to know your school board members. And sometimes it's just fun drama too. Like, it's once you get to know who the players are. I was talking to Kat Porterfield about this. Like she has this idea to do something and it's from a creative position. And I was like, ooh, because I keep making jokes that we're all in the Truman Show.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we have like NPCs, so if there's, your NPCs, we've got the actors, we have extras, we have main characters. And if you look at things from a theatrical perspective, y'all, it can be really interesting because we really do have a show going on in front of us. And you just need to figure out who your main characters are and figure out who the actors are, who the extras are, who the NPCs are.
Who's making a cameo?
Who's funding the whole thing. I mean, it's like there is absolutely like some kind of allegory or whatever that right word is for what I'm describing. So, which I don't quite know yet. But there's something there. But yeah, so well, I think that's probably we covered a little bit of everything today.
A little bit of everything. And I'm sure there'll be plenty more happening.
If only we could record every day.
If only we could record every day.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday, but
maybe someday. Hit the subscribe button and maybe someday we can record. Right.
The more people subscribe, then maybe we could do it every day. I really would love to, like, I want to talk to people, like literally talk to strangers every day. I want to, but I won't do a TikTok. I figured out why I'm so afraid to do TikTok lives, because I'm afraid of getting my account banned. Because I'm on a, like, I already have some kind of a major restriction. And so I feel like if I get a live ban and like another ban for like, even if it's, because normally it would be like a 7-day on a live. I just feel like they're going to like permanently ban my TikTok, and I'm afraid. So that's why I won't do that. But I really just want to talk to strangers about politics and stuff. My removal on that customer that used to work on the Hill, it was only a finger. And so I wasn't with her for very long. And I wanted to be with her. I wished she had a bigger tattoo to remove so that I could like talk to her more. And because it was really good. We talked about immigration and stuff too. So I'm
immigration.
Into it. It stimulates the shit out of me. Like my brain, I'm just like, I want to talk to conservatives.
Yeah, winter has come and it's got really icy down close to us.
Real icy. Carolina. Yeah, I was chasing some ice patches the other day, trying to see if it was icy in town center.
You can feel the breeze chilling here in Virginia Beach too.
It sure is. Yeah. So y'all stay safe out there.
And put on your winter boots.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. That's it for this week's dose of national dysfunction.
If you learned something, got pissed off, or just laughed through the rage, do us a favor. Share this episode with someone who still believes that it can't happen here.
Follow us, subscribe, and hit us up on socials, because if you aren't at the table, you are on the menu.
This is the Dissent Agenda. Stay informed, stay loud, and stay in the fight.